Good evening, everybody. If there's anybody even out there. But tonight, we're going to do a stream. We're going to use FSIPanel to practice crosswind landings because they're the bane of my existence. So, figured let's try to work on it and use a great tool, FSIPanel, to practice them with. Alright, good evening everybody. Again, like I said, we are going to use FSIPanel, which is this nifty little tool right here, to practice some crosswind landings. And today we're going to be practicing them at Orlando on 36R or 36R. We'll be using this great tool, FSIPanel, for that purpose. And we're going to be using the Fenix A319 in the most beautiful livery of King Bob's Kingdom. You can see we got a nice stiff crosswind happening right now. So what I did was basically went into the weather tab on 24. This gave us a nice 15 knot crosswind coming from 270. So this should make things challenging. So get the show on the road. If you're like me, crosswinds are tough. And the first thing we're going to do is make sure our FSIPanel is connected. It creates this, or FSIPanel uses this, or installs this icon in the toolbar. So it is. I just want to make sure we're connected. And that looks good. And then basically what you do with FSIPanel, you choose your airport, you choose your runway, and then you choose, if you just want to go the simple way, where you want to start the approach from. So today we're going to start from the short final, and you can see short final positions you about 4 nautical miles out at 1,100 feet. And then it's up to you at that point. So what we'll do is we'll do short finals. So I pressed move aircraft, and you can see it's basically sets up the plane to do its thing. As we start to roll there, so basically it's telling me, hey, everything is ready, set your thrust levers to the climb detent. Let's go ahead and do that. And voila, we're in the air with the 36R in the distance. And what it's going to do, it's going to descend us down to 1,100. It's going to set everything up for us. Once it's all set up, it's going to say, hey, basically press your brakes for 3 seconds to take control, and then we can go ahead and practice. Crosswind landings have always been an issue for me. So basically the technique is you point the nose of the plane into the wind, and since it's coming from 270, coming from the left, we should be pointed slightly in that direction. And you hold that until you get ready to touch down. So you'll be crabbing, which is... show you that in a couple seconds here. So it says we're good to go. So we basically hold our brakes for 3 seconds.
Slide slow.
I like to turn off these because we don't need to hear all that mess. You can see right now we're already in a crab because we got a 16 knot wind coming from 270 roughly. What does that look like? Well, that's what a crab is. The nose is pointed toward your direction of travel, or pointed away from your actual heading. I think I got that right. May have that wrong, but this is a crab. But what I like to do is let it capture the glide slope. Once it captures it, I'm going to take control and basically try to guide the plane down. You can see right now, typically in the Fenix, this area right here is usually what you line up with center line. You can see we're angled off to the side.
500.
And we got the glide slope, so let's try to bring it down. So basically I'm going to fly into the crosswind. Maintaining a glide slope as best as possible. We're still crabbing, as you can see. Flare and use some rudders to get you back on the center line, and try to maintain center line like so. It wasn't too bad. So the cool part about FSIPanel is now we can go and look at the report of how you did when you landed. So let's take a quick look at that. So here is the report, and you can see we're positive landing, unsafe because we weren't even close to the center line. We're 20.4 feet to the left of it, and just within limits of the distance. As you can see, like I always complain, the 279 via landing rate monitor, 341 here. You know, what's the real number? I don't think there is really such a thing, but that was okay. It's not one of my best, but I would take that. So the beautiful part about FSIPanel is you can either set up a key combo on your keyboard or a button input, like on my joystick, to basically run the whole thing again. So I have a button on my flight stick that does that, so we can repeat the same training, and it's going to go ahead and basically set us back up again. So with FSIPanel, you can repeat over and over and over and over to get your technique down. So it's saying put the thrust levers into climb detent, which we're going to do right now. That basically gets you up into the air and sets everything up. It's a shame something like this isn't built into either 20 or 24, but this program's awesome. So let's see if we can do a better job this time. Maybe a better job on center line. Maybe a better job with the landing rate. As this one's getting set up, hopefully everybody had a wonderful day today. Been kind of miserable here on the East Coast, but it will get better, that is for sure. Approach 1100, gonna arm approach mode. And it's saying, hey, go ahead and take over. So basically, hold my brakes for 3 seconds. And now we're in control. Since we're in autopilot right now, the plane's still doing its thing. We'll let it continue to do its thing until it gets down to, at least with crosswind landings, I take over later. Typically I like to take over about 1,000 feet above, but crosswind landing, sometimes I'll just let it take over once glide slope has been captured. Reduces my workload. It seems like with this approach into 36R at Orlando, it's just less than 500 feet above ground level where the glide slope actually gets captured or locked on, I guess. I'm not sure if that's even the right term, but close enough. There we go. So there's 500, my plane. Now we got it down. Keeping in mind, we want to basically steer into the wind while we're trying to remain on the glide slope. A little bit low. Looks like a decent crab.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. Drive.
Flare and give it rudders. Put it down. And try to maintain center line because the plane has a tendency to weather vane as the wind catches it. Back on center line like so. Off the reversers. We could see how we did on that one. As the plane comes to a stop. As you can see, typically center line, which is that. On the Fenixes, I don't know what these are, but I always use these two. This right here, let me know, hey, if I'm on center line or not. So let's see how we did. Much better. Landing distance was good. We were on the center line. And we got a positive landing of 288. Landing rate says, landing rate monitor says 213. I will take that one any day of the week. So to me, that's a good landing. And keep in mind, this is a fairly stiff crosswind. Can't see the windsock from here, but it's 15 knots from the west, 270. Roll it again. This is how I try and perfect my landing skills. Thrust levers to the climb detent. Again, the procedure is you're in a crab. The nose of the plane is pointed into the wind, but you're tracking down, in this case, the localizer. And what you do is you basically crab, point into the wind. As you get down to your call-outs, 40, 30, you're going to flare, and as you're flaring, you're going to give it rudder in the opposite direction of where the wind's coming from. So in this case, the wind is coming from the left. We're going to give right rudder to basically get back on center line. There's a lot you're doing all at once, basically. You're crabbing, you're flaring, and then you got to input rudder to get back on center line. Now there's another aspect of it too, which I'm still learning. When you're decrabbing with the rudders to get you back on center line, you should also be giving a little aileron into the direction of where the wind is coming from. In this case, I would be giving right rudder, left aileron, because the wind is coming from the left-hand side. If the wind was coming from the right-hand side, it would be opposite. Left rudder, right aileron. Lined up good, still all on autopilot right now. Waiting for that 500-foot call out. High plane. Let's guide it in. And you do have to give it inputs because that wind is going to want to weather vane the plane toward the direction of the wind. Flare and decrab. And try to maintain that center line. Alright, let's take a look at that one. Let's see how we did on that one. Look, plane down a little bit here. Still tweaking the sensitivities to my rudders to afford me better control. As the plane rolls out here. Okay. We'll just throw on the parking brake. Let's take a look at... Good job with the center line. Nice landing, 232, 228 according to landing rate monitor, and 1854, which is satisfactory. Again, that's another landing I will take any day of the week. That's up the ante a little bit now. Give it some even more. Let's give it stronger winds. 50. Let's bump that to 25. This should be even more spicy, as they say. Which means the winds are higher now, so we'll be crabbed even more toward the left. Coming down through that cloud cover. As you can see, the winds are 25 from 270. Once we get below these cloud cover here, you'll be able to see the difference with the
2,500.
The crab. You can see the crab much more toward the left. It's odd. It's always odd to me. The nose is pointed one way, but we're still going straight on the localizer to the runway. Yeah, much heavier crab, as you could see. Before we were right about here, now it's looks like our center line is roughly here. This will be a more difficult one to do. And I'm going to practice this over and over again. What I'll slowly start to do is give myself control further and further out. It's basically what I did when I first started flying. Basically would, you know, take control of the plane about 200 AGL and land it. That's gone up to about 1,000. So same thing with the crosswind landings when it gets a little bit spicy. Right now it's about, you know, 500 feet out or 500 feet above. I would like to get that up to 1,000, and then I'll be a happy camper. And you can see from before, our center line was here, and now it's basically here, as we're crabbing much more severely. There's glide slope captured. Let's guide the plane down. Always use a reference point on your dash, I guess, to line up with the center line. Winds are spicier this time.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard,
Empty crab.
drive,
That was bad. That was real bad. Not even close to center line, all over the place. We'll try that one again. Decent landing rate, but man, that wasn't a good landing. Not one I would be happy with. Was too far to the right on it. Let's see what the report says. Hey, FSIPanel just crashed. Lovely. Load it back up again. And we'll give it another go. So on 18L, so we're gonna choose fixed rate. Your FSIPanel is connected. It is now connected, and let's move the aircraft. We'll give that one another go. Curious to see what that one looks like back on the replay, which is a good point. You can replay these too. Maybe we'll set up flight control replay to do an actual replay and actually see what they look like, because that's always fun.
2,500.
We don't suggest using the built-in replay tool yet, FCR with the Fenix. It's while it works, it's a little wonky. It does the rat shows. It just doesn't work well. Flight control replay, the actual add-on, works fine. Maybe Sky Dolly too. I haven't tried that one with it. Let's get going. Let's load up flight control replay. We'll record this. Okay. Time to try again. Captured the glide slope. Not quite sure if it's better to be a little bit to the left or the right of the direction of the wind coming to try to make it easier to get back on center line. I would assume it's probably better to be just slightly to the, since we got a crosswind coming from the left, maybe slightly left of center line, because I guess we're going to get pushed back from that wind. Let's try that this time. Yeah, that made no sense what I just said there, but hey, here's my 500 call out. We're gonna take over. We're gonna try to aim for just slightly to the left of center line. Down now. We can get it, but we can do it. See, right now I'm being pushed. But we're still crabbing.
100.
I'm liking this. This is good.
50, 40, 30, 20. Retard.
And decrab. We're down. Heavy landing. 403 is not good at all. That's concerning according to landing rate monitor. Let's see what FSIPanel thought of that. Get some brakes. Try not to overheat those brakes. And that wind is pushing us. Okay. No. Nothing. Usually gives you a report. Very strange. Wonder if it's because of flight control replay running. Let's try it again. Short final. We are connected, right? Yeah, we are. These 25 knot winds are much harder to land in than the 15s we were just trying with.
$2,500.
Approach mode is armed. FSIPanel should give us control any second now. There it is. On the brakes. Now we're in control. Safe landing. Thank you. Glide slope has been captured. Bang on the localizer right now. Look at that crab. You can actually see it on the display here also. My plane. Concentrate on the aiming point while maintaining the crab and maintaining the glide slope. Yep. Not easy. Some make it look real easy, but it is not easy. Getting a little low. Sometimes I think I give it too much input.
100. Retard. 5.
Back on center line. Gotta hold the rudder just to keep it on center line with this crosswind. Again, we're not getting a report. I'm going to assume it's because of flight control replay, but you know, we can I'll take that. Didn't think that was that bad. Let's take a look to see what it looked like. So we're gonna stop the recording. We're going to load up the latest, which was land FCR. I'm going to go to that very last one.
100.
let's set this up. The replay tool. Cameras. Showcase. Unfollow. We're going to center it up. Click on drone lock mode. We'll rotate it around. Lower it a little bit. Let's see what this view will look like. This alone deserves a whole video on how to do cool replays. Now let's try something like that. You can see that crab as I'm coming down. Basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to, and I see I drifted. Ooh, Jimmy. And get it back over to center line. That is fun. Woo! It should have been over to the left just more. Let's take a look at it right down the runway. So basically I think what I messed up on was I should have been over here to the left a little bit more. Let's watch. Yeah, see, I'm getting pushed toward the right. I mean, I'll take it. That's not a great landing, but that's good for me. And I love this view. Woohoo! That's so cool. So now, the trick is, can I stop the replay and fly it again? I think I can with flight control replay. Why not? Let's give it a go. Repeat the same training. Press levers to the climb detent. See if it works. Sometimes when you do replays like that, FSIPanel won't reset back up correctly, and it looks like it. Oh, maybe it will work. Let's see. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to give us another go. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. We don't see. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to work. That's good to know. I know, especially if you want to look back at your replays, you can use Flight Control Replay, the actual tool. I wonder if that works with SkyDolly too. Like I said, the built-in one, just once you do the replay, that's it. So, okay. Let's give it another go. Why not? I got nothing better to do for the rest of the evening, so I will continue to practice my crosswind landings till I get them decent, as Bubble says. That's all I'm really looking for is decent. Good part about tonight is there has been no dropped frames in OBS. Thank goodness. Just were some Windows updates. I wonder if maybe that had something to do with it. Who knows? OBS also got updated too, so. Let's try to aim just slightly left of the center line.
500.
So we're going to get pushed back across it. And that wind is stiff. I gotta come down, I'm high. To the left slightly, to the left slightly. Come on, King Bob, you could do it.
100.
Left slightly.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 5.
I really got to get better rudder controls. I got to get better with my rudder controls. Not bad, 242, I'll take that. I don't know why FSIPanel is not giving us stats this time. It's bugging me. And we'll bring the plane to a stop. Just trying to think about this. What am I doing wrong? Fairly close to center line. Let's stop FSIPanel. Start it back up again. Wrong one, but we want 36 right. Want to connect. Start final and move their craft. I think we'll give it one more go here. But this time we may be brave, and as soon as we get control from FSIPanel, I think we're just going to disconnect the autopilot.
$2,500.
Should we? I think we will. This gonna work this time? don't even... There it is. Okay. I tell you what, that's one thing.
Speed.
I always had major issues with FSIPanel in 20, especially on the very first attempt. That doesn't really happen in 24 for me, so we'll let this plane settle out. Make sure it's on the localizer. You can see it's still trying to easy breezy there. Okay, my plane. And autopilot is off. So this is all us now. Hope for the best. Getting blown way to the right. Not even on the localizer right now. See if we can get back onto that. Getting there. Come on, get it down. We're high. Reel it back in.
Retard. Drive.
Best landing of the night except for the stupid yo-yo toward the end there. I don't understand that. I don't know what I'm doing wrong to make that happen. I'll take that any day of the week. 126 on a land. I wish I would have recorded that one. Forgot to put reversers out. As the plane slowly comes to a stop, and of course FSIPanel did not record anything. Don't get that. Probably has something to do with the replays that we tried in the middle there. And we will jam on the parking brake. And with that, I'm going to leave this stream. Have a good night. If you like what I'm doing, give me a like, maybe subscribe. See you next time. It's probably going to be a flight next time, but in the meantime, I'm going to keep practicing my crosswind landings, as should you. Plus, the winds can't always be in your favor, can they? This is King Bob. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.